My name is Penny Bennett, Associate Dean for Student Success. I wanted to welcome everyone here. We would love to have you here in person, but that's not an option. So we're attempting a virtual welcome. And then at 11:30, you'll have an opportunity to go to a Zoom session with your respective department and major and meet some of the faculty and department reps in that major. Before we move you on to that, I wanted to quickly introduce our panelists. First, I'd like to introduce Dr. Philip Williams, our Dean of the college. Dr. Williams, you want to say hi to the attendees?
Good morning, everyone.
And we'll hear from him in just a few moments. Next, we have Dr. Jennifer Terremoto Pedrati. She's the Associate Dean for Diversity and Curriculum. Dr. Pedrati, do you want to say hi?
Good morning. We're happy to have you here.
Thank you. And finally, we have one of our amazing, outstanding students. She's a senior in both ethnic studies and psychology, Ellie Hollinger. Do you want to say hello?
Hi, everyone.
Okay, so I'll be turning that over to them in just a few moments to say a few words. If just a little bit of housekeeping, if there are any students that are here as a liberal studies major, it's a bit confusing because we are the College of Liberal Arts. But interestingly, the liberal studies is located in the College of Science and Math. So if you are liberal studies, the College of Science and Math will be having their welcome at 1 p.m. You're welcome to stay in our session, but as I mentioned, that major is in the College of Science and Math. So I certainly wish that we could see you, as I mentioned, here on campus. When we do have open house in a traditional format, my goal is really to make sure you get all of your questions answered, and that's still my goal today. And so you'll notice on my name, rather than my full name, I do have my email address listed. And so one of the things we've learned in this virtual environment, that communication is not as efficient as it might be in person. And so please write down my email address or take a picture of it on your screen. And if there's any questions at the end of today that you still feel you haven't had answered, please send me an email. I'm happy to answer them as best I can, or I'm also happy to direct you to someone that can answer them. So as my title implies, Associate Dean for Student Success, we at Cal Poly, and especially in the College of Liberal Arts, really believe that your success is first and foremost. And so I'm fortunate to have an amazing team of people that help us to achieve that. You're going to get to hear from our dean and associate dean, one of our students, and then hopefully some of our faculty a little bit later. When we ask our faculty what's the thing they like most about being at Cal Poly, they often say it's the students, it's you. And so I think I'm speaking for them and our staff and administrators in saying that your success really is paramount to our goal and mission within the college. To hear a little bit more about the college, I'm going to turn it over to our dean, Dr. Philip Williams, if you want to say a few words.
Good morning, everyone. And as Dr. Bennett said, we wish you could all be here, but obviously that's not possible given our circumstances. And first of all, I just want to say that I hope you and your families are healthy and that all of you are doing your part to keep others safe. I'd also like to say a few words to our Spanish-speaking families. Espero que tú y tus familias estén bien de salud. Para los padres de familia que quieren hacer preguntas en español, les invitamos para quedarse en este webinar cuando se termine la sesión de bienvenida. Y con mucho gusto podemos responder a sus preguntas en español. Second, I want to congratulate all of you students for being admitted to Cal Poly and the College of Liberal Arts. Some of you may know that you're one of over 62,000 applicants for 4,900 spots. And as you know, Cal Poly is consistently one of the most selective public universities in the country. And so it's a huge accomplishment that you and your parents should be proud of. So please give yourself a virtual round of applause. I hope that many of you have already committed to Cal Poly. For some of you, this may be a deciding factor, this virtual open house. And I also know, as Dr. Bennett said, that you have lots of questions. And I'm just going to focus on a few. One question you may have is, do I belong and can I do well at Cal Poly? First of all, remember that you were offered admission because of your outstanding record of academic and personal success and your strong potential for future success. Second, you should also know that the College of Liberal Arts prides itself on being a college that welcomes students of diverse backgrounds, perspectives, and identities, and where all of our students can fully participate in the Cal Poly experience. In other words, you belong here. Cal Poly is a truly exceptional university, as Dr. Bennett said, committed and dedicated to supporting your academic and personal success. How can I say that? Well, I recently came to Cal Poly from the University of Florida, which is a top 10 public university. I was so impressed by Cal Poly's singular focus on student success that I wanted to be a part of this community. And unlike my previous university, here you'll find that most of your classes are small, generally less than 35 students. They're taught by faculty who are outstanding scholars and teachers who will get to know not only your name, but they'll get to know you as a person. Our excellent advisors and career counselors are equally committed to your success. And to support you in your academic and career success, you'll have access to a range of learn by doing opportunities, including internships, study abroad, project-based learning, undergraduate research opportunities as well. So to answer the first question, not only do you belong here, but you can be successful here at Cal Poly. A second question you might have is this the right place for me to advance in life and my life and my career? The parents' version of the question would be, can my son or daughter get a job after they graduate? So in addition to preparing you for your chosen major, the College of Liberal Arts educates students for success in work and in life. A liberal arts education prepares you to think critically and creatively and to apply knowledge to real world problems, to communicate effectively orally, visually, and in writing, to value human diversity and have cultural competence to thrive in our increasingly diverse and globalized society, to make reasoned, ethical, responsible decisions, to think across disciplinary boundaries and have the ability to work with people from different disciplines and perspectives. And finally, to be able to engage in lifelong learning. And these are the skills that employers tell us are the most important or as important as the kinds of skills that you'll receive and develop in your own discipline and major. So let me just finish with just a few sort of key takeaway messages. You belong here and can be very successful at Cal Poly and the College of Liberal Arts. The College of Liberal Arts and the surrounding community is a wonderful place to spend the next few years of your life. All of us here, from faculty to administrators to our staff, will support you in your academic and personal success. When you graduate, you will be ready to excel, not just as an employee and a graduate student, but also to contribute to a more equitable, inclusive, and sustainable world. And finally, as Dr. Bennett said, we can't wait to welcome you here in the fall, when hopefully you'll begin one of the most important and rewarding journeys of your life. Thank you and good luck.
Thank you, Dr. Williams. I did see a question about my email address. So if you didn't get that in the Q&A, my email address is pkbennett, and that's with one T at the end, pkbennet @calpoly.edu. And as I mentioned, if there are any questions you have following this welcome or following the events of today, please email me and I'm happy to direct you to the right answer. Next, I'm going to introduce our Associate Dean for Diversity and Curriculum, Jennifer Teramoto Pedrati, who can talk about the values we instill related to diversity, equity, and inclusion mission in our statement.
So welcome to all of you today, and thank you so much for coming to meet us in this virtual format. As you can imagine, this has been sort of a wild ride lately, but our Cal Poly Learn by Doing spirit really helps us to learn all kinds of new things. As Dr. Bennett said, I'm Jennifer Teramoto Pedrati, Associate Dean for Diversity and Curriculum in the College of Liberal Arts. I want to talk a little bit about some of our values today, and in the CLA, diversity, equity, and inclusion are key values that we embrace in everything we do, from classes to internships to any kinds of experiences that our students have. Our college is a leader in our campus in this particular area, and we've made a lot of positive strides towards making sure that all students can have an equitable college experience in our college. You can check out all of the different kinds of initiatives on our website later if you like. There's a diversity tab, but I wanted to speak to you today about two programs just briefly that some of you might be interested in. The first is our Multicultural Scholars Program, or MSP, and this is a program that's devoted to creating a strong educational community for students from historically underserved populations. The goals that we have in developing this program and running it are to provide, as Dr. Williams was saying, a strong sense of belonging in our college, and also to make sure that we're giving students support by connecting them to resources that are designed to point them in the right direction in terms of personal success, academic success, and also professional success for their future. So the MSP program partners with one other program that I want to speak with you about briefly here, and that's our student-designed underrepresented students network. The CLA Student Diversity Committee helped me to develop this program a few years ago, and it's a peer mentoring program in which we work to create a sense of community within our students from the very beginning. The mentors from this particular group are assigned to the students in the Multicultural Scholars Program for anyone who'd like to have a peer mentor, but we serve the Greater University as well, so it's a nice group of students all together. And it can really help sometimes to have some people to cling on to in the beginning to figure out how to start navigating your new surroundings. The last thing I wanted to point out today is that our curriculum is another source of DE&I education just in general. We have many, many different classes from all different disciplines that focus on areas of diversity and equity and talk about these types of things in their classes on a daily basis. And in addition, our professors understand that good teaching is inclusive teaching, and they work on that daily. So being a student in the College of Liberal Arts means that you have a different kind of opportunity to develop into the kind of globally minded citizen that so many employers are looking for today. It's a really great benefit to make sure that you're having this kind of piece added to your education. So as my colleagues have said, we're really wishing we could see you in person today, and we really look forward to the day that we'll be able to. But we hope you enjoy the rest of your virtual open house experience. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Pedrati. Next, probably one of the things that students want to hear most from is another student. So Ellie Hollinger, if you would please tell us a little bit about some of your experiences, I think that would be tremendous.
Hi, everyone. My name is Eliana Hollinger, and I am a fourth year double majoring in psychology and comparative ethnic studies. And before I talk about those two majors, I just wanted to say that CLA in general has such a special place in my heart. I'm very involved in other activities that are outside of my major. But with psychology, I've had such great experiences, and what's really special about this major is that there's such small class sizes, and even though it's one of the most impacted majors within CLA, we still keep our class sizes to less than 35, which is amazing. And I've had multiple professors multiple quarters in a row, and I've also had I've had a lot of the same students in my classes, which has helped me build greater relationships with both the professors and the students. So the class size is awesome, and also some of my favorite courses have revolved around the Learn by Doing motto. Very hands-on experience. I've been involved in a lot of research. I did not do any internships with psychology. You have an option to do an internship or the research experience, but I wanted to have a different type of hands-on experience working with students, learning procedures, and trying to see if I want to go in that direction for grad school. We've also had special classes called intergroup dialogues where we explore social context and we talk about race, and I have learned to take that class and also become a facilitator for that class. As far as clubs revolving around psychology, I am part of the National Honor Society, Psych-Hi, as well as the Psychology Club, which has helped me have greater relationships with both faculty, staff, and students. There are a lot of bonding activities that we've done, such as movie nights, cookie decorating, letter writing, and then on the academic side, we've had practice interviews, resume building, special speakers as far as learning about companies around SLO and internship opportunities. My favorite thing about the psychology major is that you can go in for office hours, not just for the academic side, but more for a social and personal side. They're not necessarily your therapists, but they're always there, like open-armed and willing to talk to you about anything. And out of those office hours, I have created great relationships that now I go to dance classes with one professor, And I've also set up bi-weekly lunch meetings with another professor just to hang out because they're just so supportive. Now for ethnic studies, that's also been such an amazing community that I joined. I joined the minor originally my sophomore year. And then once I was taking more classes, such as hip hop, poetics and politics, African American cultural images, I decided that I had enough room to take on another major. And there's been so much support there. The ethnic studies department makes students go in every single quarter to talk about the classes that they want to take the following quarters, as well as figuring out what they want to do in the real world as far as careers and jobs. And then as far as that major, we've also had a lot of bonding activities such as wine tasting, hiking on the weekends, brunches and lunches, and celebrating the whole year in the spring and for graduating seniors. I'd say that's about it, in a little brief talking about both majors.
Thank you, Ellie. We have a fair amount of questions and answers coming in, and it looks like some of our panelists behind the scenes are answering some of those, but let's see if we can address some of the others. So there's a couple of questions related to how the liberal arts, English, psychology, other majors, how we deal with learn by doing at a polytechnic university. And so I'll let some of the other panelists jump in, but just off the top of my head, as Dr. Williams mentioned, I think one of the things that we're good about doing is teaching some of those essential skills, right? So oftentimes we hear, you know, what can you do with a degree in the liberal arts? And my response is often, what can't you do with a degree in the liberal arts because of some of those essential skills? But just to give you an idea of some actual learn by doing areas, many of our majors have internships, which are very learn by doing. I would say at least 6 or more of our majors have a journal that their student produced. So the students not only write the research, they edit it, they publish it. That's just a few examples. And then I didn't know if any of our panelists want to jump in. Ellie, do you want to mention some of your learn by doing experiences?
Yeah, so for me, as well, for psychology, I would say one of the classes called Helping Relationships. It's required for a psychology major, is where you have a helpee, which is another student who is trying to overcome some sort of challenge. So that could be, for instance, test anxiety or having social issues, trying to make friends, or just trying to get used to the campus life. And you actually meet with that student 3 to 4 times during the quarter, helping them with some obstacles. And you're not necessarily being a therapist, but this is just a good idea for students to see if they want to go into that sort of field. And there's no such thing as like giving advice, but more so just listening to the student and trying to help them with some struggles that they're trying to overcome. So I would say that class was really helpful, seeing how hands-on psychology really is. And then another portion of it is either doing research. For child development, I worked with Dr. Williams, and we went to an elementary school, and we did a few studies talking to students, seeing if they see race or if they watch certain television shows or movies that have people that they identify with. And then that was really hands-on, being able to actually work with students there. And then if you don't do the research option, you could always do an internship, where some people work at local businesses such as Family Care Network or Big Brothers and Big Sisters, where you could also work with younger students or a different population.
Yeah, I think it'll be important for students during the departmental breakout sessions to ask that question, because there's so many different opportunities. And Eliana obviously is talking about psychology and ethnic studies for her 2 majors, but each major, you know, has a range of opportunities. Just to give you an example, in political science, one that they actually do as part of a class is called the California Bill Project. We've had students in that class as part of the project that actually write and advocate for bills. And that class has actually had 2 bills that they wrote, lobbied for, got approved, and passed into law. And one of them had to do with disclosing information about textbooks to bring down the price of textbooks for students throughout the state. So it's a great opportunity where students in a classroom are really learning by doing. They're not just reading about the legislative process, but they're actually doing it as they're learning about it. Journalism is another great example for where we have the Mustang Media, where students can get involved in broadcast journalism and in print journalism. And so they're not just reading about journalism, but they're actually doing it in practice. And there are many, many examples like that across the college. And so it'd be really important in your departmental sessions to ask about sort of more specific examples in that particular major.
Thank you, Dr. Williams. A few other questions. I'm going to sort of lump some of them together. So there's some questions related to how many students are in the college, how many freshmen are admitted. So just roughly, there's about 2,800 students in our college, closer to 3,000 maybe with graduate students. And I think we are the third largest college on campus. We admit roughly about 800 new freshmen and about 200 transfers per year. And I think the other question was related to the Multicultural Scholars Program, how you would get involved in that. We do have some information on our website, but any admitted student, freshman in particular, will be getting a survey, an admissions survey, and you'll be able to specify if you want to be included in that program. You'll be able to specify if you want a language, what language you would prefer, and a whole host of variety of other academic related areas. I saw a couple questions about double majoring or changing majors, so we can certainly answer that in more detail, but the short answer is we do allow and encourage double majoring within our college. Now, I don't want to lead you to believe that if you come in, as a psychology major, you could then add, from another college, because each college makes their own decision, but I can certainly speak to within our college that we do allow double majors. And then I did see a few questions about study abroad. We highly recommend study abroad, obviously not right now, but when things settle down, we would certainly encourage you to, and I think there's over 300 different study abroad options, maybe more than that within our college. So let's see, looking at some of the other questions. Okay, there's a question about, is there a one-time limit to switching your major, or could you switch if more than once in the same college? I find myself apologizing a lot to students and families because at Cal Poly you are required to choose a major. And so oftentimes when you're 17 or 18, you might not know, that's pretty common, what major you specifically want. And so we do have students change majors. And in fact, about 30% of our students do change majors. It's less common that they change majors multiple times, but it does happen. And I would say we have an amazing College of Liberal Arts advising staff, and they can help advise you. We have amazing career counseling services that can help as well. And I would encourage you to explore your first year if you're a first-time freshman, but then certainly start to make some decisions by your second year of what major you might want to pursue. And then I'll let Dr. Williams or one of the other panelists answer the question we get is, what do we expect to happen in fall? Will we be at a stay-at-home shelter? Do we have any answers in terms of what fall is going to look like? Dr. Williams, do you want to take that question?
So the short answer is, we don't know at this time, but what I'd first just like to make clear is that Cal Poly's #1 priority is the health and safety of our community, our faculty, our students, staff. That's our #1 priority, is your health and safety. And so whatever we do is going to be guided by the advice that we receive from public health officials and of course the state of California. Our hope is that we'll be able to welcome you in person in the fall, but we'll be making key decisions in the months ahead. So the best case scenario is that you'll all be able to be here on campus, but we will obviously, with anticipation, as this uncertain sort of situation unfolds, be giving you clear advance notice of any sort of changes to that. The expectation now is that we will be in person in the fall, But again, it really depends on the evolving public health situation. And as I said, just again to underline, your health and safety comes first.
Thank you, Dr. Williams. And there's a question specific to Ellie. They want to know what you're planning to do when you graduate.
Well, I also wanted to mention that I am a student that switched my major. So I was originally liberal studies. And I will say a lot of my friends also switched their majors. So it's okay if you don't really know what you want to go into yet and you are constantly taking a bunch of classes that can help you figure out if you want to switch your major. So that was really helpful to realize that going in, knowing that I'm allowed to switch my major, and I end up finding what I wanted to pursue. So as of now, with all of this going on, I decided to take a gap year, and I'm hoping in this gap year that I could work on some more research. And I have been applying to different research positions at institutions, and I'm hoping after that gap year, I will feel more confident in pursuing either a master's or a PhD in psychology. And I would like my emphasis to be in either environmental psychology or somehow focusing on mental health and how the outdoors and nature can affect that positively. So I really care about how the outdoors can make you feel happier and healthier. So as of now, I'm trying to either be a teacher or somewhere in academia because I really like being in a school setting.
Thank you, Ellie. I appreciate that. There's a sort of a cluster of questions related to academic advising, or what the high school would call counselors. And so you can certainly go and reach out to our academic advisors now. So if you go to cla.calpoly.edu and click on current students, that would bring you to our CLA advising webpage. And our advisors are available to answer questions via Zoom, email, or even we have Zoom drop-in hours. So I would encourage you to reach out to them. You do not need to reach out to them now unless you have sort of general questions. So I think there was a question about when to reach out for course planning and that sort of thing. So the way course planning works for freshmen is that we block you into your first quarter. So that survey that I mentioned that you will be getting gathers a lot of information which will help determine what classes you'll be placed into. So you don't need to worry about registration your first quarter. For transfers, you will register, but we'll have an orientation that will help you determine what transfer work has come in and what you would need to register for. There were a few questions about sort of a transfer programming or what we have available for transfers. We do have a new transfer center that opened on campus just this past year, and we do have orientation programs specific to transfer students. So we're certainly trying to be more accommodating to our transfer population, even though it is a smaller population than our freshmen. I think we've run out of time, and so